Okay, so let's take a look at question 4. It looks like you missed, so let's look at it. Now, this is not the exact one you had. Since it was blank, I decided just to go ahead and do an example. All right, so let's see here. All right, so this is Lee Perry from Precision Fabrications. We need 17 3 3/4 inches wedge bands. All right, so we need 17 of those, and they need a gap of 51 thousandths. So when you think of thousandths, the first decimal is tenths, and then hundredths, and then thousandths. So the 1 needs to be in the thousandths place. So that would be tenths, hundredths, thousandths. This would be read as 51 thousandths. Okay, for the next one, 21, we need 21 4 3/8 wedge band with a gap of 241 10 thousandths of an inch. 241 10 thousandths of an inch. Okay, so we want the 1 of the 241 to be in the 10 thousandths place. So the 10 thousandths place would be tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths would be right here. So we want our 1 to be right there. And then our 4 would be in front of it. And our 2 would be in front of that. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths. So that would be read as 241 10 thousandths. All right, for the next one, we want 29 wedge band connectors. So you're going to put the quantity, the number of those, 29. And then clamps that adjust from 1 23/100 inches, which is this number already there, to 5. So 5 is a whole number and is your decimal. 374 thousandths. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So the 4 needs to go in the third decimal place. Okay. So that would be 4 thousandths, but we want 374 thousandths, so we would put 374. Okay, so that's how you would work that first part. Comparing the 3 3/4 wedge bands and the 4 3/8 wedge bands. So these two right here, which has the smaller gap. So you would line these up. Let me see if I can show you real quick. I was actually going over this with my daughter in school this week when she was comparing decimals. So 3 3/4. So these two, 0.051 and 0.0241. Okay, and I'm gonna, let's see if I can get my whiteboard to pull up. It's not wanting to. Let me try that again. Okay, so here are your decimals, and you want to line them up, and then this one has 4 digits and this one only has 3. So I am going to, and let me see if I can move this down. There we go. Okay, so we can see it better. All right, I'm going to look at these, and I need to add a 0 here. And now you can kind of see when you compare two decimals and you line them up. So it's kind of like a competition here. These both have a 0. So then you go to the right of that and you see that 5 is bigger than 2. So 510 and 241, this one is bigger. So 3 3/4 wedge band would have a bigger gap, which means 4 3/8 wedge band would have the smaller gap, or 4 3/8. Let's see. And it may not check it since I already had the answer down here. But you can see that I got the same thing that they did. The only thing that you probably need to do, that they're going to want you to do, is put the 0 before the decimal. They already had the inch sign, so you don't have to put that. And that's pretty much all there is to that question. Let's look at the next one. And you can see here that they added the 0 to compare it, like I did. All right, moving on to the next question. Let's see. I need to go back. Okay. Question 10. Let's look at it. I don't want to look at it that way. Let me go back here. Question 10. I'm going to get a similar question. Okay. So here, according to Food and Nutrition, in one school year, the National Lunch Program served 31.2 million school lunches. Of these, 16.1 were free and 3.2 were reduced, and 11.9 were full price. The federal government reimburses school districts $2.68 for each free lunch. They reimburse $2.28 for each reduced price lunch and 25 cents for each paid lunch. In addition to cash reimbursement, schools are entitled to receive USDA foods called entitlement foods at a value of $19.50 for each lunch served. You are the administrator in charge of the school program for your school district. Last month, the schools in your district served 27,000 free lunches, 18,000 reduced price lunches, and 53,000 regular price lunches. So let me pull up my calculator so it'll be ready so you can see how to get these. Calculate the amount of reimbursement you expect to receive. You expect to receive, let me move this, from the NSLP for last month. All right, so what you're going to do here is the National School Lunch Program, the reimbursement, you're going to do $2.68 for each free lunch, and you had 27,000 free lunches. So you would do 27,000 times 268. So that would be 72,360. That's your first number. Then you're going to have to do 18,000 times, we're reimbursed $2.28 for it. So 18,000 times 228, and you're going to get 4104. So now we have down here with the explanation, here's what we did. We have 72,360 for the free lunches. We're going to get reimbursed 41,040 for the reduced price lunches. And now we're going to do 53,000. And we're going to times it by, how much do we get reimbursed for those? 25 cents. Okay, so you're going to do the 53,000 times 0.25, and you're going to get reimbursed $13,250 for those. So if you look down here, you're going to take those three reimbursements and add them together to get your total reimbursement, which is going to be $126,650. So you have to really read this carefully and understand what it's asking you to find. For Part B, in addition to the lunch reimbursement, the NSLP program pays your district 3.5 cents per 1/2 pint of milk served with each meal. If each student averaged 1/2 pint milk per meal, calculate the total amount of milk reimbursement you expect for last month. So we have to add all these meals up because each lunch would be a meal. So we have 27,000 plus 18,000 plus 53,000. So that would be 98,000 if you added those up. Okay, so here's where they added those up. Now they're going to get 3.5 cents per meal. So you're going to do 98,000 times 0.035, and they're going to get $3,430 for the milk reimbursement. Now let's look at the next one. The bottom line, what is the amount of the reimbursement your district will receive for last month? So now what you have to do is add the reimbursement for the meals, which is Part A, plus the reimbursement for the milk, which was Part B, and your total reimbursement when you add those together would be $130,080. All right, red tape. The government paperwork you must submit requires that you report the average reimbursement per meal for both lunch and milk combined. So that total amount of reimbursement that we're getting, you're going to divide that by the total number of meals. That's how you get your average. You take the total, just like you would do grades, you would take the total amount of your grades when you add them together and divide by the number of grades you have. Well, here we're talking about the total amount of reimbursement, which is the $130,080, divided by the total amount of meals, which we calculated a minute ago. The total amount of meals that we served was the 98,000. So your average would be, you're going to want to round to the nearest penny. So the nearest cent, this 2 would round up, because if you look behind it, the number behind it is 5 or more. So it's going to round up to $1.33 per meal. So I'm going to stop here, and I will do the rest in the next video so I don't run out of time working the next problem.